Doodlers, how you doing? Well, it's another beautiful day. Isn't it nice? You can see, hang on, let's see if I can show you. The water. Look at that. It's a beautiful day in Devon. I've had a really nice day. I've just started a new book. So I've been writing, in fact it's the third book in the Misfits series, the You've Been Werewolfed, which is the one I read to you last week. It's the third book in that series. So I've been starting to write that, which is really nice. The way I work is I kind of plan all my stories out, so I know where I'm going. It's a bit like having a map. You know where the story is going. So I've been working on that. Got my story, just adding some jokes, fleshing out all the characters. But it's made me think a little bit about how I do different styles of drawings for different books. So if I'm doing something for the Accidental series, like the Accidental Prime Minister or Billionaire, it's a different style to the Misfits series. And so as a kind of illustrator, as a doodler, you need to have lots of different styles. You need to be able to draw things in different ways. Sometimes your drawing might have to be really cartoony, or sometimes it might have to look quite artistic or stylized. So I thought that would be a good episode of this week's Doodle Do-It. What we're going to do is we're going to take a simple character like a cat, and we're going to draw it three different ways, some colour, some black and white, messing around with the form, messing around with the shape and the way we might draw eyes, noses, all those kind of features, to draw something in different ways. Sometimes it can be quite overwhelming if you've got a blank piece of paper. You're not quite sure how to do it. There's so many different ways to draw something. But I'm going to show you, like I say, 3 examples of how to draw a cat. So let's get back to the drawing board. Let's get doodling. So we're back at the drawing board now. As you can see, I've got 3 little rectangles that I've just drawn out. I'm going to take the opacity down there so a little bit fainter, and we're going to draw 3 cats in 3 different styles. So let's start by, this one's going to be quite, I wouldn't say arty, I don't know if art is quite the right word, but what I'm going to do is this one would look good in a sort of picture book or something like that. So we kind of, I want the line to be a little bit wobbly. I quite like a nice sort of wobbly line on this one. Little nose, little mouth, eyes really sort of far apart. I'll do the tail. Yeah, so you imagine a sort of picture book. One of the first picture books I did actually was about a cat. A cat's one of those things I kind of draw. It's just like my go-to thing when I'm not quite sure what else to draw. I always draw a little cat. I'm just going to put another layer underneath the cat, so I'm sort of working underneath the pen layer, if you see what I mean. I'm going to colour this in now. Let's do a nice bright orange cat. There we go. I'm going to go over the line a bit. Sometimes it's quite nice to go over the line. If you look at picture books or any kind of illustration, sometimes you'll see the sort of line, the coloured line going over the ink line. Just makes it look a little bit like it's a bit loose, a bit free. That's the kind of look I want to go for this one. Nice little ginger cat. I'm just going to leave that white on the right hand side. I'm going to leave a bit of that there as a little highlight. Now let's have a look. Let's see if we can find a nice shade. That's going to be like the little shadow down one side. Again, I'm not too worried about it being really neat. Just kind of keeping the pen quite loose. Helps with that kind of loose arty style. And some little stripes across. Again, I'm not particularly worried they're sort of a bit wobbly. It's alright. Because that's the kind of look I'm going for. I'm going for a little bit, it's almost looking unfinished. If I take those down a little bit. There we go. Zoom out, you can see how it's looking. Let's put a little shadow underneath, and then make my shadow a little bit blue. Shadows are always good if they're a little bit cooler. So there we go. Yeah, the shadow, it's easier sometimes if the shadow isn't a black or anything like that. It can be, you know, just use a nice subtle colour, can make a big difference. So I'm going to do cat number 2 now. This is going to be a scaredy cat. This is going to be like a big cartoon cat. So I've completely changed the ink brush I was using. Draw it out quickly. Instead of using that kind of wobbly, fine little nib, I've got a sort of big felt tip pen for this. It's got a nice little point on it as well, so it can kind of, you can get some of those nice lines on the mouth. You can see where it's a little bit pointy, goes off into a point. It's quite a nice look, that. So there we go. Little triangles for ears. So yeah, this is going to be just a black and white cat. I might put some stripes on it, but just really using those big thick black lines to make it like a big kind of cartoon cat that you might see in a comic or something like that. I'm not going to colour this one in, I don't think, because it just shows what you can do with those black lines. I'm just using some of those black marks to make a shadow. Zoom out, have a look. Little circle underneath. Use my little fill-in tool like that. I'm going to take away the pencil line so you can just sort of see with all the kind of lines underneath. Do a few little stripes. I might get rid of some of those stripes by the mouth. They're a little bit distracting. See, have a little fiddle around. See if we can make that a little bit neater. So yeah, this is one done with kind of big, bold, like a big sort of magic marker I'm kind of using on my iPad. This is like called a studio pen, but if you were going to use a pen, it'd be like a sort of pointy magic marker, so you can get some nice pointy lines. A little zoom in, see how that's looking. Just fiddle around with those little stripes again. Maybe a few little lines down the side. Can make the kind of the hair of the cat like it stand out a little bit. You see, it's really different to the other cat. Really different. Different style, different look completely. So we're going to do one more cat now. Again, we're going to use a sort of different style. This style is going to be a bit like a sort of cartoon, like an animated cartoon character from something like a Warner Brothers cartoon, like Bugs Bunny or something like that, or the Flintstones or something, that kind of really nice retro-y style. So I'm going to get a nice, it's almost like a chalk effect, this brush. So I'm not going to have an outline on this. I'm not going to have a black outline. You don't always need an outline. You can sometimes just having a nice clean coloured shape can be really nice. So I've got, one of the benefits of using an iPad is I can rub away any lines I don't like. So there we go, just take away a few of those lines. You can still almost see it's like an orange silhouette of the cat. Make it a little bit neater on the top. So yeah, this is a sort of stylized cartoon character that you might see on a little animation. Nice. It's a nice bit of a scratchy pen, but it's quite neat on this one. It's not as wobbly as the first one. Eyes closed like that. So yeah, once you kind of have a kind of good understanding of a character, then you can start to sort of mess around. If you kind of know how to draw cats or dogs or a particular character that you've invented, once you kind of know it really well, then you can start messing around and kind of going, what happens if I draw it in this style? If I draw it like really cartoon, like a manga, not magna, manga. He said magnum, that's an ice cream, isn't it? Manga style, or we'll draw it in the style of a really kind of cartoon character from like Nickelodeon or something like that. Doing the same character in different ways kind of makes you sort of really kind of learn and understand and it helps you kind of create characters when you sort of know what you can do with them. And so, like I said, my job means that some characters are good for certain drawings, some characters are not right for different drawings, and you've got to kind of pick and choose what you want. I'm going to put a little shadow underneath, a little cool blue shadow underneath there. There you go. I'm going to add another layer on the side and over the top. What I'm going to do is it's the same colour, but I've clicked the multiply option on the layer, which means it kind of bleeds down. So that way you're kind of using the same shade, but it's just making it a little bit darker. And it's a little bit bright at the minute. Let me just make this a little bit neater. And then I might tweak the opacity. That means how see-through it is, basically. There we go. If I bring it right down, and because it's above the little stripes, it gives a little shadow on the stripes as well. So there we go, 3 very, very different characters done in a completely different way. The first one, a sort of arty character from like a picture book. The second one, like a cartoon character from a comic strip. The third one, I guess a stylized one that might look good on a nice animation or something like that. There you go. Stylized. So we have 3 different characters drawn different ways. So yeah, have lots of fun. Pick one of your characters that you like. Maybe it's the cats, maybe it's something completely different. Mess around, see what you can come up with. But I shall see you again very soon on Doodle Do It. Until then, happy doodling. See you later.